December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed over the Ohio River, shocking the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, about a week before Christmas. Rush hour traffic crawled along the bridge that connected Point Pleasant and Gallipolis, Ohio. Dozens of cars sat bumper to bumper on the structure. There was no warning at all. A couple of loud snaps, and then in seconds the pavement vanished from underneath the traffic. This is the exact spot the bridge stood in 1967. It folded like a line of dominoes and dropped 104 feet into the river. Witnesses miles away said there was a terrific roar, like reality bent over and howled, as steel twisted in ways it couldn't go. About 5 p.m., Charlotte Wood was driving home from work when she went over the bridge, but noticed a vibration beneath her and reversed her car. Just as she made it back to the precipice, the bridge gave out right in front of her. State Trooper Rudy Odell was one of the first responders on the scene. When he got there, 31 cars and 64 people had already fallen into the river. By the end of the night, 46 people had either drowned in the water or died on impact as sections of the bridge landed on top of other vehicles. He said, "I could hear them yelling for help, but there's nothing I could do. It was a long way out into the water." Other survivors had to be pulled from the water. Howard Boggs was one man who was saved by a rescue boat with his wife and child nowhere to be found. It would take weeks for the victims to be recovered. Since the collapse had crushed so many cars below, workers were unable to lift the vehicles out of the water until the bridge pieces could be removed. The Army Corps of Engineers leased them a 50-ton crane. Meanwhile, the job of tagging victims' bodies fell to Odell, who identified some people that he personally knew, including a father and his young son. Sadly, 2 bodies of known victims remain missing to this day. 31 vehicles plunged into the water, taking 64 people with them. In the end, 46 victims lost their lives on that fateful day. Tragically, 2 bodies were never found. 9 people were left injured. President Johnston expressed shock at the cruel tragedy and loss of life. In 1968, he ordered a federal-state program to commence reconstruction. A year later, the Silver Bridge would be replaced by the Silver Memorial Bridge, and I'll show a picture of that in this video. It's about a mile south of the old structure. He also ordered a presidential task force on bridge safety to look at the collapse and general bridge safety across America. The National Transportation Safety Board investigated the disaster, and it wasn't until April 1971 they revealed the cause: a cleavage fracture in the lower limb of the eye of I-bar 330. The fracture was caused by the development of a critical size flaw over a 40-year life structure as the result of joint action of stress, corrosion, and corrosion fatigue. The population of Point Pleasant is only around 4,000 people, and for a town that small, a tragedy this large is horrific. I remember when we received the phone call that the Marshall plane crash had killed the football team here in Huntington. It was devastating, and it was a town of 100,000 and it affected everyone. Now this is a memorial on the other side of the flood wall. This is an actual depiction of the bridge and the memorial that stands in front of it. There was a book written about the tragedy in 2012 called The Silver Bridge Disaster of 1967, and it's in paperback. The Silver Bridge collapse was a national wake-up call to inspect and maintain bridges across the country. In fact, this tragedy propelled the nation into a new era of bridge safety. As we approach the 55-year anniversary, there's still a hole left in the families affected by the disaster that linger to this day. There's an annual memorial each year to remember, but nothing will ever replace the lives lost or change the effect the tragedy had on the area. Being from West Virginia, there's literally never a time that I go over a bridge that I don't think about the people that were on the bridge that night. And our time here is short, and God loves you. God bless you. Until I see you again, bye.